Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. First and foremost, if you are watching this video, you have in front of you probably two of the better, or if not best, sports cars that GM had, two-door sports cars that GM has produced in the last 25 to 30 years. On the left, you have a 2005 magnetic red LS2 powered Tremec 6-speed manual C6 Corvette with relatively low miles, 42,000 miles. On the right, you have something a little newer, a 2007 Pontiac Solstice GXP with the Aisin 5-speed automatic and an LNF 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder engine. And I just want to get this out of the way first. Both have newer tires on them with not a lot of miles, less than 1,000 on each. These have the Continental Control Contact Sport SRS Plus. These have the Michelin Pilot Super Sports. And I do have to say, each tire fits the characteristic of the car very well. These are an ultra-high performance all-season tire that works really well in the wet and dry. These, of course, are a ultra-high performance summer tire, and they both fit the characteristics of the car extremely well. But let's get to the chase. If you're watching this video, you're probably trying to decide, what do I want to buy? Do I want to buy a C6 Corvette, or do I want to buy a Pontiac Solstice / Saturn Sky, preferably in the GXP or the Redline trim? That's the only way to buy one of these vehicles if you care about speed at all. And I'm here to answer that for you. On the left, this cost me, before tax, title, and license, $20,000. On the right, with 42,000 miles, like I said, 6-speed manual transmission. On the right, LS2. I need to remind you, LS2. On the right, you are looking at the Pontiac Solstice 2007 GXP trim, 34,000 miles, so 8,000 miles less. This cost me $11,000 before tax, title, and license. So almost half the price once tax, title, and license is all said and done between the two, but both very, very, very affordable sports cars. And if you are shopping in the under $25,000 price range here, you probably are cross-shopping at least the Saturn Sky Redline and the Pontiac Solstice GXP with a C6 or maybe even a C5 Corvette. And I'm going to get this straight out of the way. Both are convertibles, one could say, the Target Top and then just the pure convertible Roadster. Both are relatively small vehicles. Although parking them side to side, you can see the Solstice is a much shorter vehicle than the Corvette. The Solstice is also a hair under 3,000 pounds. This is 33-ish hundred pounds, so both very light vehicles. One has a 400 horsepower LS2 and 400 torques. The other has a 260 inline 4 turbo with 260 horsepower, 260 torque. Both have some minor mods to them. This has long tube headers with a Flowmaster exhaust and a cold air intake. This also has just a K&N air filter along with a Dynaflow exhaust on it. So both do sound really good. I will start both of them up. You can already tell which one is going to sound better here. If it were me and I had the money to spend, which I did, I would buy the Corvette. I'm getting that out of the way. But if you are on a budget, and one could say this is a mini Corvette, but it truly is not a mini Corvette, as we will dive into it. This is its own vehicle. And if you don't have quite the $20,000 to spend, if that is not in your budget, this is a fantastic replacement for the C6 Corvette. Not only do you get the convertible top, similar to the C6, but you get a very wide track, a very potent engine with a nice soundtrack, and really a very similar driving experience to the Corvette, although not as stiff, not as sporty as the Corvette. You still have a rear drive architecture and the Kappa platform, and of course the C6 platform here being rear drive. Both are very, very, very well-styled vehicles and drive very well. Now, if I were going to cruise down the road with my fiance, this is the car to do it. This is a precise track engineered machine. This, while you could definitely take this to an autocross and have some fun with it there, this is just a little softer sprung, a little bit, I would say almost more livable than the Corvette, because again, it's a little bit of a better ride. The seats don't hug you in quite as much. There is, the acceleration is not as mind-blowing as the Corvette, but still provides enough speed for you to really enjoy it. Also, this transmission is a little bit easier to drive than the TR or the T56. So again, pros and cons to both. I have driven so far this year well over 500 miles with this car. I don't do a lot of driving during the year. The Corvette, I have also done a lot of driving, but that pales in comparison. I'm at about 400 there. Usually on my collectibles here, I do about 1,200 miles a year, and this one is, considering I just bought this 3 weeks ago, this one is definitely racking up the miles because of how fun it is. This vehicle, the Solstice, is usable power on the streets. You can, while this does go 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds, you can still use this power on the streets because the gearing is shorter. You're not going 60 in second gear, you're going 60 in third gear, sometimes fourth gear in this vehicle. And to continue it with the gearing, like I said, the springs are softer, but there is still minimal body roll here. And if you want even less body roll, of course, you can throw this on some lowering springs, do some tuning to it, to the suspension and whatnot, and you have a really capable track vehicle, I think, in my opinion. And I know where the Pontiac shines the most here in its exterior design is the last half of the car. The back 3/4, this car looks awesome. The designer of the car, Franz, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, really designed this car to be a romanticized version of the earlier roadsters in the American history, in even the European history. And you get that with a longer nose, you get it with a shorter rear end, a higher rear end, a nice rake to the vehicle. I even think the top looks really, really well with the Solstice. And to top it all off, you get these awesome 18-inch rims on here, fitting 245/45 ZR18 tires, so definitely high-speed tires, taking premium fuel as well. Where the Solstice does not shine, I think, is the front end design. The sky looks a lot better. It looks more C6-esque. But this does, offer a unique combination that you just don't see on the streets anymore, with the Pontiac badge and kind of the Pontiac, I should say the front fascia up front. Also, what you don't see very often, or what nobody points out, is the tiny air venting down there. The normal non-GXP models don't have that. And really, that's about where the similarities here between the C6 and the Solstice end is the size of the vehicle. Interior wise, you get a totally different interior. GM was not known for their interior quality. No American automaker was known for their interior quality back in the mid 2000s here. Again, Corvette interior, a little bit nicer leather, a little bit better touch points throughout the interior here. I do think I like the steering wheel more in the Pontiac, but you know, a lot of hard plastic definitely in the Solstice. But again, that's part of the charm, and that's why these vehicles are able to last so much and so long, is that these materials here, there's no leather on the dash, so you are not having these wear spots. It's just hard plastic, so it's going to last forever, which is awesome. I do have to say, I love the Pontiac interior, how everything is driver focused. All the gauges are driver focused. It's to the point. You get in this car and you drive and you have fun. It is an awesome roadster and cruiser. Now, one thing everybody has seen, but I do want to point it out here again, is the fact that, if I can find it, the hood opens the same as the Corvette does. So unlike the Corvette, though, this does feature the halogen headlamps coming up with the hood as well, which is illegal on vehicles. Pontiac must have found a way, GM must have found a way to get past that. And inside of the engine bay here, you have that 2-liter Ecotec LNF turbocharged engine. It is fan-freaking-tastic. And if this looks anything similar to the engine bay of the Corvette, it's because it is. You can swap out with an LS2 very, very, very easily. Again, we are going to attempt to pop the hood on the Corvette. Of course, the LS2 engine bay looks a lot prettier than the Solstice engine bay, but very cool here to have, especially if you're at a car show, to have the Corvette hood and the Solstice hood open up like that. I just absolutely love it. I am in awe at how good, back in 2007, how good this Ecotec engine was, especially with this Borg Warner turbo setup here. This really is an electric car. It is so fun to drive, so sporty. The stability control system came with a competitive mode in both these vehicles back in the day, which, you know, truth be told, it's not that bad. It really is not that bad. I have to say, the stability control in these two vehicles are better than my Challenger SRT8. And over here, of course, you have the wonderful LS2 engine bay with the K&N cold air intake. This is a monstrosity of an engine. I absolutely love the LS2. This is just wonderful. LNF, also very good. I love this engine because if you're like me and you're used to naturally aspirated engines, specifically big V8s, you don't get to hear a turbo sound. And with this engine and that Borg Warner, you hear an excellent turbo sound every time you spool up the engine. It is amazing. I absolutely love it. I would have it no other way. Really, to enjoy this car, you need to get the GXP. I can understand why people LS swap these engines because, or LS swap these vehicles because A, the LS2 fits perfect in here, and B, this car needs at minimum the 260 horsepower and 260 torque that the Ecotec came with. But let's close this up. One may be wondering, we'll close this beauty up here. One may be wondering why you would get a Solstice over a Corvette. And I really struggled with this when I bought my Corvette. I was looking at Solstices too, but nothing can beat the original American sports car. And that's what the Corvette is. The Solstice, well, it is awesome. Just really in the history of everything, can't compete with the Corvette. Of course, if you are somebody who can afford to spend a little bit more money, get a Corvette with the Targa top. You get a ton of space in the rear if you want to take this on a road trip. Even with the Targa top in the back, it really gives you the best of both worlds of storage and giving you that convertible feel that you can't get with some other sports cars, or the storage space that you can't get in a convertible Corvette. But let's take a look here at the interior. One thing I just despise about this car is the electric door handle release. I wish it was just manual powered. I understand what they were going for. This is a lower step in height for sure over the Solstice, and that's one thing that I love about the Solstice. It's easier to get into. The Monsoon sound system is great. This Bose in here is also really good, but I think the Monsoon is just a little bit better in my opinion. Let's hop in. We're going to close this up so we don't have to listen to the dinging. The Corvette driving position is also driver focused, and you can tell when you are in this car that you are in a larger, longer car than the Solstice. Actually, a much larger car, to tell you the honest truth. There is a ton of room back here. This is an easy road trip vehicle. I would have no problem driving this across the country. Even with the Targa top off, there is a ton of room in here. Where the Corvette gets away here with the weight savings is with the fiberglass panels. And that's really how the Corvette hides the size. You can see just how much longer the track is here and how much longer the overall width is. I love myself a really good roadster, and that's what the Pontiac is, but I also love myself a really good sports car, and that's what the Corvette is. And as I said earlier, I would buy the Corvette first and then the Solstice second, and that's what I did. But if you don't have the budget for a C6 Corvette or even a C5, you can pick up a very, very nicely optioned Pontiac Solstice GXP for $11,000 like I did. That's a hell of a performance bargain when you consider what this car is, how kind of ahead of the time it was from GM, and its true capabilities as a track car. We're gonna pop the trunk. There we go. Weird position to pop the trunk. This is where the Solstice loses some of its points here as a trunk space. So you do get a fair-sized trunk with the top up, but at the end of the day here, and a fix-a-flat kit over there, but at the end of the day, you do not buy a Solstice to drive it with the top up. So with the top down, you don't get a lot of room. You don't get any of the sides. You basically get the little area in the back. So while this would be a good couple-day road trip car, you could not road trip this vehicle across the country like you could with a Corvette because you just don't have the space. So for the final test, let's hop in, start it up. Remember, this has a K&N air filter and a Dynaglow exhaust, or Dynaflow exhaust. Nice little rumble. Definitely gives it a nice characteristic over stock. Let's give it a few revs. Has a nice sound to it. I love the LNF. Sounds fantastic for a little car too. And it's 4-cylinder. I really like the way it sounds. Now let's start up the beast. It rumbles so hard it shakes the car. Oh yes, that sounds very, very, very nice. Do a little revving action here. All right, shift to reverse. It's one issue with the C5 in 2000 or C6 in 2005. You always had to make sure you shifted into reverse. All right, you guys tell me what you would buy with your money. Your budget is $25,000 or under. You could buy a pair of these, or you could buy a really nice C6 Corvette. Hell, even $20,000 or under. You could buy yourself a really nice C6 Corvette or a Pontiac Solstice slash Sky GXP or Redline. If it were me, again, I'm picking the C6 first, the Solstice second, exactly what I did. This is a precision machine. This is a scalpel. This is almost a precision machine. It is very, very close, both track capable, both I would say track ready, and both provide a very, very, very awesome and unique driving experience. So I want to hear you guys, what you have to say, what you would choose. If it is down to me again, C6 Corvette first, Solstice second. Thanks guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Like and subscribe.